Welcome back to Beauty Boss Millionaire. I'm your host, Felicia Fracassi, and today we're just going to go over some leadership skills, traits, and characteristics that you probably should have in business and things that I use every single day to make my business run smoothly. Because these are the things that make an effective leader. Effective leaders have the ability to communicate well, motivate their team, handle and delegate responsibilities, and even listen to feedback even if they don't like it. It's called constructive criticism, and sometimes your customer will give you these and you have to just take it all in and not get offended. I've seen people do this time and time again. And also just having that flexibility to solve problems even in a charged environment or in an ever-changing workplace. And even just looking at how to raise up the next leader in your company, these are some of the things that you're going to look for.
Welcome back to the Beauty Boss Millionaire podcast with daily on-the-go episodes packed with testimonies and business tips to help you create financial freedom through entrepreneurship. Hosted by the owner of Fracassi Lashes and the Blow Dry Lounge, the Beauty Boss Millionaire herself, Felicia Fracassi.
So let's quickly just jump into skills that are needed to be a leader in your company and what really works to help you run a business effectively. The first thing is just having really good communication. As a leader, you'll need to be able to clearly communicate and explain what's going on with your employees, to your customers, everything from organizational skills to specific tasks. The next thing is problem solving. I problem solve on a daily basis. Over the weekend, I was driving home on the expressway and there was a problem that broke loose in my store. And I was just sitting there thinking about how am I going to fix the situation? Because I have weird situations where one person does one thing and then the other person does, and something just allowed me to put it together as I was thinking about how to solve this problem. And, you have to kind of learn these non-traditional solutions. These are things that people don't teach you. Sometimes you'll learn them from experience. Sometimes you'll learn them from making mistakes, to be honest. And sometimes you'll just be in a situation like, how do I fix this? And when things don't go well, you have to learn from that too. So problem solving is one of the big things on my list as a leader I feel people should really have before they go into business or learn as you are in the business. Because you can't just leave problems unresolved. For every single problem that is brought to you, there needs to be a solution, even if it's the smallest thing. A new policy is brought out, a new way that you operate has to be clear. The next leadership skill I feel like all entrepreneurs should have, and actually I feel like it comes with the territory, is being creative. As a leader, you're going to have to make a lot of decisions that don't have a clear answer. So you have to be able to think outside the box and just learning to be creative in situations that are handed to you. Like kind of being crafty, like you have to know these things. Like if something doesn't work out or it's not working out, for example, I'll just use this for example. I was at a women's expo yesterday and I had a table, I had a booth. It was really nice. It was really organized. People were coming up to the booth. But I noticed that they were not really understanding the product. I don't know if it's because the demographics of women that I was with, they were a little bit older. We have the magnetic lashes, which are called Magna Lash that I've created. And the young girls, they were just like, oh, yeah, I seen these on Instagram. And they were like, oh, yeah, give me 2 pairs, give me 3 pairs. People just wanted these magnetic lashes. But I noticed that the ladies that were over like 45, 50, they did not understand what the heck I was selling. And so within that 5 seconds, I was like, I literally had like 20 old ladies that were like, oh, now these didn't work. I tried these before. And I'm like, well, what lashes did you try before? And they were like, you put them one's on top and one under and you push them together. I said, oh, you're not talking about the same thing. This is magnetic eyeliner. And you just put the lash on the eyeliner. And they were like, oh, okay. And so I was kind of explaining it to, and some got it, still some didn't get it. Finally, I said, let me just get creative here. I opened up the package, drew a line. And all day I was taking off the lash, putting it on, taking it off, putting it on. Something small as an example in your company. And as soon as I did that, everybody bought them. I'm literally not joking. We sold out. We sold out within 1 hour of me just showing people and demonstrating what it does. So sometimes you might have to set up a demonstration. And honestly, our table wasn't even set up properly for that type of environment because it was just like a tell about your business type of thing. And they wanted us to bring business cards and this and that. And I really wasn't even trying to sell the magnetic lashes. I was trying to sell the product and the Botox and what we have because we have a store upstairs, but we were downstairs in the main area where like Starbucks is at, it's like a little hallway that had a bunch of vendors that we were asked to be at. So quickly I was able to get people upstairs after seeing, the product, and we spoke with them, and we literally made $3,000 that day just selling the product. So creativity really just pays for itself. The next thing that I think all leaders should have, especially if you're running your company, and I see a lot of people make this mistake when they are running a company, and even in a church organization, even in any type of business that you're in, sometimes the person at the top, which is you, can become almost cold and callous and really unthoughtful and just heartless. You need to have empathy. Empathy is the ability to understand and share the feelings of others. Something like this may seem so simple, but it's really hard for some people to grasp, especially if they have this I don't care attitude, get it done, which I understand. I've been there before where I felt like just get the job done. But I do understand when I need to use empathy in a situation. It helps you understand how your team feels about their workload, their environment, or their workplace, or even just the relationships that they're in. It just is a simple must-have if you're trying to run a team. And there's been times where I've had to use empathy in trying to help employees and trying to help my staff and trying to help my customer understand their experience, their frustrations too. And as a leader, you cannot ignore people's feelings, and you have to have empathy around their feelings. And I feel like empathy really goes along with just being able to put yourself in that person's shoes and really just understanding, even like, for example, our store gets really busy on some days, and some days we can handle it, and sometimes it's like a lot. And sometimes it does affect our performance because we know that we have busier days, so we try to put extra people on the floor. But it's still, all in all, it's more of a stressful day. So there's things that I've done and I've worked on the floor. When I hear that it's stressful, I get on the floor and I work with my team, and I actually help out, and I come in and I see what's going on so I can figure out how we can make this less stressful for the team. And that sometimes means eliminating, like, for example, we had to discharge a patient last week from our practice because the patient wanted, first of all, she wanted to abuse the staff. She wanted to abuse our lovely doctor. And I felt like that wasn't something I was going to stand for. And, our doctor is very nice. He's a very kind person. And she wanted more Botox than needed. And she just had Botox. And, we're all for making money, but we're not going to do things that we don't think is right. And the same thing goes for your business. If you feel like someone isn't right for what you're offering or a service, you probably shouldn't be offering these things to them just to make $1, which we don't do. So we had to have empathy, one, for the customer, but we also had to have empathy for our staff because they were all getting abused by this lady. So it's something that leaders must understand, this gift of empathy from all sides. But at the end, you have to do what's best for your team and your company and the customer, because she didn't need any more Botox. And that's just good judgment skills too. And the last thing that I really want to touch on before we wrap this up for the list of leadership skills must-haves is just really delegation. Delegation seems so simple, but there are people that do not know how to delegate. Making sense of a project or giving direction doesn't come naturally to everyone, but it's an integral part of leadership. Leaders should be able to delegate and say, hey, look, I'm going to take the first half, you take the second half. I'm going to handle this part of the project, you handle that part, so we can get it done quickly. And then you don't want to micromanage them. Let them feel accomplished. This isn't like, oh, this is my business, so you're going to do everything I say my way or the highway. That's not what we're doing here. We're empowering people to be leaders along with us. You don't want to have people that you're babysitting. At first, you can watch them just to make sure they understand the concept if they're not really sure. But after that, you let them go on their own. They have to learn on their own pace. There's so many times I try to teach people how I do things, and they'll eventually learn how to do it, but they might add their own little twist on it, and that's okay. And I've talked about this in earlier chapters, that delegation is simply a transfer of responsibilities from a task from one person to another. The decision to delegate is usually made by you. And sometimes people will want to help out, and you have to let them help out, and you have to just expand your role, because if you're trying to handle everyone else's job in the store or in your operation, you're not going to be successful. You're going to be burnt out and stressed out just because you wanted to do it yourself. And that's not what we're doing here. We're going to get more into more leadership skills that are needed to effectively run a business. Also, if these are really helpful, please review, rate, and share, or just send the link to someone who may need this. You're enjoying Beauty Boss Millionaire with Felicia Fracassi.
That's it for today. Tune in tomorrow for the Beauty Boss Millionaire podcast. And don't forget to follow the Beauty Boss Millionaire, Felicia Fracassi, on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at Beauty Boss Millionaire.